Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. As a reminder, please join us in our 54-day Rosary Novena in the run-up to the U.S. election. Given that this is the anniversary of the largest terror strike against the U.S. in its history, it's fitting to recall the motivation for that attack against the Twin Towers, and really America, was the destruction of America. It was not to merely injure the country or weaken it or soften it up or cut it down to size. It was to destroy, period. And so now to pivot to the upcoming election, how are the Democrats any different in their stated aims? They want America destroyed, and they're pretty darn close to accomplishing it. Using a crafty combination of propaganda, phony science, and appeals to emotion, the Marxist crowd in the U.S. has constructed a narrative that says America is bad and must be replaced with a new understanding of America. By seizing on past injustices and sins, they have developed a plan to make the entire history of the country seem evil and inhuman, and therefore in need of being overthrown. For the moment, they must work within the boundaries of a supposedly free election for the moment. Recognize, however, if they win, this may be the last presidential election in America, or the first in a series of purely manufactured elections with a predetermined outcome already baked in. That's the whole point of this mail-in balloting scheme, to completely throw into confusion the results of election night. This is not just absentee voting. Absentee voting is just that, casting a vote ahead of time because you know you won't be able to be at the polls on election day for whatever reason. This is an organized campaign to get as many people as possible to not show up at the polls, even though they could, on election day. So an air of uncertainty, of unknowingness, of no conclusion hangs over election night, a great pall of doubt. And the country is prepared then for a long, drawn-out, ongoing, supposed vote count. The problem is tracking these ballots. So far, any effort on the state level to do mail-in voting on a large scale has proven completely unworkable. Some public officials have been charged with voter fraud. Counties and states have had hundreds of thousands of ballots rejected by courts owing to miscounting, mismanagement, and overall chaos. There's a reason the election happens on the same day in all 50 states, because it makes sense and it works. The Marxist Democrats are keeping up the Wuhan virus scare in an attempt to terrify enough voters into voting by mail and not showing up at the polls. Then, after the polls have closed, the mayhem can begin. Dead people's votes can get rolled into the total. Ballots illegally filled out by Democrats in key counties and states can suddenly appear by the boxload. More ballots end up being cast in a given precinct than there were eligible voters to cast them in the first place. As some old sayings go, it's not the voting that's democracy, it's the counting. And one from third world dictator Nicaragua's Anastasio Somoza sums it up perfectly and fittingly. Indeed, you won the election, but I won the count. From a Catholic point of view, it would be difficult to imagine a greater sin, a greater fraud perpetrated against the people of a nation built on free elections other than a massive fraud negating their votes and canceling out the actual results. It's theft, and accordingly, it's an offense against justice. It's an offense against truth, which makes it all an offense against charity. But then again, you're talking about people who murder babies, so there is that. What's the theft of a few 100,000 votes here and there on the days following the election? As further evidence of the diabolical involvement in this great unfolding spiritual war, the party of death is deliberately setting the stage for post-election night chaos. Chaos is the stock and trade of the diabolical. Theft, lies, deception, all in the ultimate service of child killing. Do you still need convincing? This is a great spiritual war. God love you. I'm Michael Voris.